Hey guys, what's up? It's Angelina and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the video that I promised you guys a few videos ago. It's comparing my Dior Forever Stick Foundation to my Tom Ford Stick Foundation because this is by far my favorite stick foundation. It's definitely Holy Grail. It's been super hyped up on YouTube and social media for the past few years. For a reason, it's honestly really good. And then this is a new release from Dior. So I kind of wanted to do a side by side just to see which one I preferred, and honestly if this one was even worth keeping. With my Tom Ford stick, like, I never have to worry about anything. I feel like the skin prep, like, it really doesn't matter too much. It's not a very finicky product, but I feel like this one kind of is. I've heard this pronounced so many different ways. Is it Laneige? Is it Laneige? I don't know. My skin is already moisturized. I wanted to go ahead and moisturize off camera so we didn't have too much waiting. I moisturized with my Innisfree green tea hyaluronic cream, and then I also moisturized with my what is this? My Ren Global Protection Day cream. I moisturized the eyes with my Innisfree green tea caffeine bright eye serum. So if you guys are noticing a lot of hydration, that's probably why. As you guys can see, I have pigmentation right here. Pretty dark from some acne I had previously. I am kind of breaking out here or there, just the usual these days, to be honest. Let's start out with the Tom Ford Stick Foundation. I have this in the shade 70 Tawny. Okay, it's melted. Okay, we're just gonna start with a little bit. I don't want to go too overboard with this. I'm gonna try to layer slowly. That's one layer. And then I'm just gonna kind of go in the areas that I need it for the second layer, which is like basically my cheek area. Okay, honestly, that went on really nicely. I feel like for some reason I remember it being like way more dewy than it actually is. You guys can see it's obviously still hydrating up here. It's a very textured area. It's not the same surface level as the rest of my face. So I feel like it can be tricky with some products there because, you know, ice pick scars in general sometimes are just hard to deal with. Just a little bit more. See how much we can build this, because really this is the only thing that's bothering me right now. This side, nothing on it. This side, a lot more refined, pretty dewy. I will say it's not overly dewy, which is great because I just remember it being so much more dewy than what it is like right now. I don't know if this is discontinued. I'm gonna have to look this up because I did get this half off, I believe, because Sephora was doing a foundation sale, and that's usually a sign that it's gonna be discontinued. We're gonna go in with my Dior Forever Skin Perfect stick in the shade 4N. This is gonna probably be deeper than this. I'm gonna use my Merit brush. These two are very similar. You can see they're kind of like this tapered dome shape, and they're very dense. This is scented. It smells like perfume. This has no scent to it. So, as acne prone, sensitive skin girly, already preferring this one over this one. Same concept, we're gonna slowly blend on this side. Slowly build is what I meant to say. Yes, it is neutral, but I do find that this one just kind of leans warm tone. I would say like this one's more neutral and this one's more warm, even though this is a neutral shade. But I think that they're both really decent skin tone matches for me. This one is just a tad bit too dark when I'm like comparing it to my chest, but that's fine. So we did our initial layer. This side I won't really need to be building up too much, but I'm gonna try to do some more layering because I want to make sure that I'm, equally testing both sides. I don't want to have so many layers on this side and then just one layer here, because I do feel like layering is important to me because that's my cat, by the way. Layering is important because as someone with acne prone skin, there's going to be moments where I need to layer, and I really do want to test how well this layers because While some products go on really well, I think that not many products are able to layer without it looking cakey or separating or anything like that. Okay, honestly, upon initial application, these two don't look all that different. They look very similar if you're asking me. And then this side is also still a little bit dewy as well, but I will say this is more of a matte finish. So this is just a side by side. They're looking pretty identical upon application, honestly. When I was doing the Dior Stick Foundation alone for my video, I was like, oh my god, it's like so smoothing, so blurring, and that's very true, but I don't see much of a difference between how smoothing and blurring it is compared to my Tom Ford stick. This just feels a little bit cheaper. This one feels heavier, sturdier, and just, I don't know, if you think that they look any different, I think upon like just appearance, they look fine, but when you pick it up, this one feels cheaper. This one feels more high-end, I guess. But obviously, I care way more about what it feels like and what it looks like on the skin, but I thought I'd point that out. Okay, in terms of like hydration and what side looks dewier, I think they both look very similar. They're both not super dry looking on the face. They both have a little bit of luminosity to it, probably because I really hydrated my face. Up close though, in this area right here, I'm noticing that I feel like the Dior side is looking a little bit heavier in my pores on this side than the Tom Ford. Yeah, this side is just looking a little bit heavier in this area right here, the apples of my cheeks. I think this did a pretty good job covering up the dryness I had, and like I said, I had ice pick scars here, and it did a pretty good job at smoothing over that and not making it look cakey. Honestly, the Dior side didn't really have much texture or pigmentation really to be dealing with, so I can't really compare the two. But I will say they're both sitting nicely on the face. If you watched my Dior Forever Stick Foundation that I posted recently, on day one, I noticed that when I didn't really go in and hydrate the skin a ton, this just looked more dry and it definitely clung on to drier areas. So that is something I know about this product that happens. But today, because I hydrated and prepped everything, everything looks fine. This one, I normally go in, I don't really have to be too crazy about how I prep the skin. Sometimes I moisturize. Honestly, there's some days where I probably don't even moisturize as heavily and I still go in with this and it looks fine. So that just might be something to keep in mind when you're thinking about these two. We didn't do anything besides brows. I'm gonna go in with my Huda Beauty Full Filter Corrector in the shade Peach. This explodes all the time, no matter what I do, so I just keep it in a sandwich bag in my makeup kit. I'm using this more like fluffy brush, which I actually have been loving this brush for blending out bronzer and color corrector. I feel like it just does a really good job. Okay, so that's just the color corrector laid down. I am not going to use my Huda Beauty concealer. I'm going to use my NYX Bear With Me with a little bit of my Yensa concealer for some brightening. I've been loving this and I have been using this non-stop. It is such a good concealer. I love the packaging. I like that it's a pump. Just like very good concealer. And it's drugstore. So I think that just goes to show you don't always need super high-end products, even though I personally love high-end products. I really do want to use this because I've been loving this and using this a ton, but I do want to also use my Say blush, so I think I'm going to mix these together. This is like a blush and bronzer hybrid, so I might just mix it on the back of my hand, but this product specifically was the one that I was having issues layering on top of my Dior stick foundation. So today we're just gonna have to put it to the test again, and if it ruins the makeup, it ruins the makeup. I'm gonna mix these together, which I haven't done. I should have mixed these together before. I don't know why I just thought about it. You know, it kind of adds like a really nice bronzy color to the blush, but obviously it has like some highlighting properties to it. Today, I'm not noticing that I'm having any issues layering the products. I don't know if it's this on its own that has issues layering with creams, or like this could have been the issue, but maybe because I mixed these formulas together now it's like layering better. I don't know, but honestly, this combination looks sick. Do you want to go ahead, and I want to go in with my Merit Stick in the shade Sepia, because I'm just gonna cream contour a little bit. Let's use my Jones Road powder, because I've been liking this one. Maybe we could do a bit of Jones Road mixed in with my Givenchy, because this is a little too yellow. Slightly, not anything crazy. A concoction, and then I'm gonna just mix it together in this cap. I really like this because of the neutralizing tones, like the blue and the purple. I feel like it makes a big difference on my skin tone, because on my skin tone things pull orange like very easily, even if they're not. Then I'm just gonna press out the excess. You can see this has like a tiny bit of blue tint to it. I actually love those powders mixed together. I might start doing that more often so that way I don't run through my Givenchy powder. So that's everything all set. I'm gonna do a close-up right now so you can see how everything's looking. Both sides look really good. I don't have any complaints on either side. I think that they look super comparable now that I actually can see them side by side. I will say the only thing I am noticing is this side just for some reason in this area looks a little bit more pory, like a little bit more textured, and this side doesn't, even though I do have, pores on both sides and a little bit of texture on both sides. I think that for some reason this side looks a little bit heavier. Honestly, this is a good palette, so I'm so excited to grab this one. I don't know what kind of look I want to do. I haven't played with this palette in a minute, but it's like one of my favorite palettes. I mean, I feel like the obvious answer here would be to do something pink. I'm also really excited that Patrick is releasing his foundation. I've seen people like already start testing it on TikTok and stuff, and it looks like something I would like, but I don't know if it's worth the price tag. Oh my god, I'm so happy that I got to use this palette because I forgot how nice the shimmers look. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just used every single shimmer. I in fact got carried away. It's probably been over an hour of me wearing this, but you guys, the palette is a godsend. I love that. I highly recommend it. One of you guys asked me what the app was called. It's called Tiny Decisions, and you can put in whatever you want, and it's like basically like a wheel, and then you just spin it and it'll like randomly generate something. But it's great because we would not have gotten this amazing, wonderful eye look without it. I filmed this lip look, like this lip combo on TikTok. I also filmed it for reals because I want to start doing like a brown girl lip combo series, because as a brown girl it is so difficult to find lipsticks and like lip colors combinations that don't look ashy, too pink, too nude. Honestly, I can tell you guys that I think that this is wearing so similarly on both sides, and I'm so happy we're doing this video because I would have never guessed that. Now that I've tried these side by side, I didn't need to spend, I forgot how much this is, like 50 something dollars on a foundation stick when I already had this sitting in my collection. So let this be a lesson to all of us that we don't always need the latest and greatest releases. We don't. Like, we probably have good things in our collection just sitting there. But I'll go ahead and I'll do a later on wear test in a few hours so we can see how it's holding up. But today's look is a slay. The weird thing is, I feel like these are wearing so similarly. Like, I'm not noticing any big differences. I'm obviously starting to get a little bit dewy with both of them, like on both sides. It's almost like these are wearing like exactly the same. If anything, I actually think that maybe this side is a little bit more shiny, kind of where the eyebrow is, than this side. Um, Again, I would say like this side is just more like textured in this area, but in terms of how it's wearing pretty similarly, and we're about 3.5, almost 4 hours in. but I do think they're both holding up like really well. Initially, like based off of application, the Dior one kind of goes on just slightly more matte and more blurring almost than the Tom Ford one does, but then ultimately these both look like the same product. I'm pretty happy with both sides of my face right now. I'll go ahead and check in the next couple hours and then we can wrap up this video. Okay guys, we're here to do the final check-in and let me go ahead and tell you guys my thoughts. So let's get into it. These two are basically wearing exactly the same. I will say though, I think that this side of my face is getting slightly more greasy than the other. Like they're obviously both starting to get oily at this point, but I just feel like this side is more greasy. At least like right here and above my eyebrow right here. My cat is obsessed with my chair that I sit in for filming, so he's probably gonna sit here too. Tom Ford versus Dior. What I'm noticing is the Dior side is getting slightly more oily than the Tom Ford side. I think what it really comes down to is I already have the Tom Ford in my collection. It's honestly a really good skin tone match. The Dior foundation is fragranced. And not even just like kind of fragranced, it is pretty heavily fragranced. And because I have sensitive acne prone skin, I just think it's in my best interest to go with the Tom Ford because it's not scented. I already own it in my collection. It's a staple. And right now, I feel like it is wearing slightly better. These are very similar products. I'm now starting to wonder if these are maybe like the same ingredients. I really don't know. These are both high-end luxurious makeup products, so regardless they're both pretty pricey. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this side-by-side comparison between both of these foundations. And I feel like this is going to lead me to doing more side-by-side comparisons. So if you guys want any two foundations that you feel like are similar or you're not sure what to get, definitely comment them down below because if I own them or I plan on getting them, we might be able to do more side-by-side comparisons. Ending on that note, if you're new here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel to see more. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram for short form content at ANGELINASERENAXO, and I'll see you guys in the next one.